Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I'm Ruth Shelley, President of the Rotary Club of Portland. Welcome to our live weekly membership meeting. This year's theme for Rotary International is Rotary Opens Opportunities. This week, we open all three doors of opportunity as our speaker, Mark Wells of Downtown Portland Clean and Safe, tells us more about our city center's healing from the pandemic, recovery from the economic downturn, and peace building as we seek racial justice in the process. And I'd like to wish us all and our club a happy 111th birthday. Our club was founded on this day in 1910. Happy birthday to us all. But first, let's welcome Rotarian Mark Pavinci for our reflection. Mark?
Thank you, President Ruth. In this time where division and anger are elevated, I'm going to turn to Fred Rogers, more widely known as Mr. Rogers, for inspiration. He said, "When I say it's you I like, I'm talking about that part of you that knows that life is far more than anything you can ever see or hear or touch. That deep part of you that allows you to stand for those things without which humankind cannot survive. Love that conquers hate, peace that rises triumphant over war, and justice that proves more powerful than greed." President Ruth?
Wonderful thoughts, and one of my favorite people, Mr. Rogers. Of course, if you'd like to volunteer to give the reflection, Siobhan has put the link in the chat, or you can email her directly. Now I'd like to ask the Rotarians who have invited a guest to raise their real or virtual hand, and Jackie will call on you to unmute and introduce them. Or if you're a visiting Rotarian and would like to, and it came on your own, please raise your hand and introduce yourself, or let us know of your presence via the chat box. We welcome all of our guests and thank you for attending our meeting. Jackie, do we have anyone joining us today?
Good afternoon, Rotarians. My name is Jackie Carroll, and it's time to introduce guests. Please raise your hand if you have a guest, and just kind of wave your hand. Are there any guests? Anyone at all? We gotta work on that for next week.
Okay, all veterans then. Well, I'd like to extend a happy anniversary to everyone who joined Rotary Club of Portland in May. As you know, we alternate each week honoring birthdays and Rotary anniversaries for the month. Here we have all of our Rotarians who are celebrating anniversaries in the month of our club's birthday. That's pretty special. Congratulations to you all, and thank you for keeping up your membership in these extraordinary times. Now, please welcome Rotarian Curtis Shirey to tell us about U40. Curtis?
Thank you, President Ruth. Hello, fellow Rotarians, back again to talk about some U40 business with you guys. Like I said, over the past couple months, we spent a lot of time developing a new program that we feel is going to fit a little bit more with the pandemic. We've addressed a lot of the issues that we felt like we had in the past that prevented us from accomplishing our goals. So we're really excited for this new program. At the moment, we are struggling to get some applicants. So that is the big thing that we are missing at this point. We would hate for all that hard work to go to waste because we weren't able to fill a entire U40 class. So I would ask the entire club to reflect on people in your network that are philanthropically minded, under age 40, and are emerging as professional leaders here. And I would ask that you ask them to apply for our program. We really want to have a strong program this year. The application window is going to close on the second Wednesday in June, which I believe is June 9th. So again, just really asking for people to take 5-10 minutes, reach out to a few people in your network and direct them our way. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. A great program, and we need great applicants. Now we're going to disappear and enter a virtual table talk. Please introduce yourselves to the others in your group. And a minute or so before you come back to this main meeting, you'll get a visual heads up. If the conversation flows, you're more than free to chat about whatever you like. But here's a suggestion for a topic. I don't know if you saw it, but in Sunday's Oregonian, our fellow Rotarian Andrew Rowe penned a thoughtful letter to the editor, which was entitled, "Focus on Downtown's Comeback." He urged community engagement and optimism to help the city recover. Focusing on the positive, as Andrew suggests, what evidence of progress have you seen downtown that gives us hope? Here we go. And now on to our program. After our speaker today is finished, if you'd like to ask Mark a question, Jackie will moderate the Q&A through the chat box. And now please welcome past president Rotarian Dick Clark as today's chair of the day. Dick?
Thanks, President Ruth. It's great to see all my friends on the screen. I think that today's topic is very relevant to what we're all experiencing as Oregonians. And Mark Wells will offer, I think, a very comprehensive viewpoint specifically about downtown. Mark Wells is the current Director of Operations for Downtown Portland Clean and Safe. This district, Downtown Portland Clean and Safe, is the oldest of the current 3 enhanced service districts that we have in Portland. Clean and Safe provides enhanced security and cleaning services to 213 square blocks in the core downtown area. Clean and Safe is proud to partner with Central City Concern and their Clean Start program to provide direct employment and training in their homeless to work programming. Mark moved to Portland in 2002 while serving in the federal law enforcement for 6 years, and then transitioned to local municipal law enforcement, working as a police officer in Washington County. He has spent 11 years with the City of Portland's crime prevention program, managing a wide variety of city-wide community crime prevention programming. Please welcome Mark Wells. Thank you for joining us, Mark.
Thank you very much, Dick, and President Ruth. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here and share what we do at Downtown Clean and Safe. And I will try to get through my formal presentation pretty quickly so that we can have a robust Q&A. And we had a good breakout session already. So, and that's usually always my favorite part of a presentation. So with that, I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully this will all work again. Can you all see my screen okay? All right, fantastic. Well, here we go. Again, thank you. My name is Mark Wells, and I'm the Director of Operations for Downtown Portland Clean and Safe. And I want to review what we do downtown, kind of a little bit of our history, and the core services that we provide for a district of 213 blocks. So again, we're providing essential services to people and places in downtown Portland. So who are we? Dick mentioned we're one of 3 what we call ESDs. And if you've been around Portland for a long time, especially with government, there's always an acronym. So Enhanced Service Districts. It used to be a BID or BID, which was a Business Improvement District. And then we've all decided to just call ourselves ESD, so Enhanced Service Districts. But out of the 3, there's Clean and Safe, there's the Central East Side Industrial Center, and then there's Go Lloyd in the Lloyd District. And we are the oldest, established in 1988. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. And we have a separate board of directors that guide our leadership and direction. And again, we're focused on 213 blocks, and you can see that map over there to the right. That's facing north at the top, just for orientation, with the river on the right. And it kind of jigs around a little bit on the southwest corner, but that is our district for the Downtown Clean and Safe area. It's kind of a unique thing. A lot of people say, who are you? Are you the city? What do you do? I don't quite understand it. And again, that's the job here, is to make sure you understand who we are and what we do. We have a formal contract with the City of Portland to provide enhanced services. Again, the whole term enhanced ESD is to enhance what the city is already doing, and to ideally make it a little bit better, and to make sure that the downtown core is as vibrant as possible. We're actually in the process. We have a 10-year contract with the City of Portland, and we're actually in the renewal process now. And hoping to renew our contract later this year in the fall, around September. to hopefully keep what we've been doing, keep on doing what we've been doing, and do it better than we ever have before. We're funded by voluntary fees paid by property owners. So if you're a property owner within the 213 blocks, it's essentially kind of like an additional business tax. So it's paid to the city of Portland, and that's where that formal agreement and contract with the city works, is that our ratepayers or business owners pay that once a year to the city, and then that money comes to Clean and Safe with an annual budget of about $5.5 million to provide the services we're gonna take a look at. What do? We focus our services downtown to enjoy downtown, to keep it as clean and safe as possible. Which it's interesting. I'm a very candid person, and I believe in humor. So I hope my humor goes okay and lands well with this group. People say, "Who do you work for?" I say, "Well, downtown clean and safe." And I'll say, "Well, I don't know. It's not too clean. It doesn't sound too safe." And I get that, and then we'll probably get into some of the challenges here in the Q&A a little bit. But basically, in simple terms, we're trying to enhance the vitality in the heart of Portland. And I would say, even though we've been doing this for a long time, the challenges have never been greater, and the need has never been greater for what we do. So I'm personally excited to be very excited to be part of this process. This is a very busy slide. It has lots of information here, but it kind of shows all the different things that we do, broken into ratepayers, our property owners, our stakeholders, and our constituents. Think of Clean and Safe as kind of a two-pronged effort. We have myself, again, Director of Operations, and then we have my coworker, Sydney Mead, who runs all of our retail programs downtown. She's the director of our retail services. So we do a whole bunch. Of course, we do cleaning and security, which we'll dive into a little deeper here, but we do a bunch of other things. We run different community meetings. Right before this meeting, I just got off of what's called the Downtown Security Providers Network meeting, or DSN, because again, we like our acronyms. The DSN, Downtown Security Providers Network meeting, is almost all security and loss prevention providers in the Clean and Safe area. We meet once a month with the Portland Police Bureau, with the Multnomah County District Attorney, with our park rangers, and we're sharing and collaborating safety information, chronic theft, chronic crime issues, identifying crime trends, and we work with what's called the Strategic Prosecution Unit within the DA's office. This meeting has gone on for 20 plus years, and it kind of fell off the way a little bit during COVID. And we stood this meeting back up when I came on to Clean and Safe in late January. We have over 150 participants, and I'm really proud of it because we're able to take information and share it very quickly. Whether it's, for example, I'm sending out information directly from the Portland Police Bureau on tonight, and with some potential issues going on down at the Justice Center, and really kind of connecting the dots so people know what's going on. But there's a bunch of other different things that we're doing. You can see here, we're part of the mayor's action tables, the Clean and Green events reputation table, a lot of different parts that we're working on. And I'll delve into these a little bit more in detail. So programs and services, cleaning. I have to say, this is definitely one of the most rewarding parts of my job. You've probably seen our cleaners out there. We partner with Central City Concern in what's called their Clean Start program. It is a 6-month homeless to job program. Almost all of our cleaners in this program come from either being homeless or struggling with addiction or both. And it gets folks a stable full-time job. And it's not just a job, but it's wraparound services. It's everything from money management, housing assistance. And the goal is to get you back on your feet, get you back working, and then move on to a better job, a different job, and continue on. I have to share with you that my vendor contact with Central City Concern is a wonderful one by the name of Laura Brown. And she started with Clean and Safe 16 years ago when she was out of prison. Nobody would hire her or give her a job. And she became what's called a barrel pusher. And at first I thought, that sounds kind of not a very good term. And they say that with pride. No, you start off as a barrel pusher. That's what you do. And fast forward 15 years, Laura Brown is the business manager with Central City Concern. She manages not only our multi-million-dollar contract, she manages 5 other contracts with the city, county, and metro, manages hundreds of employees. And it's just a wonderful example of many of nobody would hire Laura. And now she is running the show over there and doing really, really good work. Our cleaning downtown is 7 days a week. So it's everything from just picking up litter. We have 2 gentlemen, Roy and Paul, who are expert graffiti removers. They have matching paint from Rotary paint for pretty much every business that allows us to paint on their buildings. They take a lot of pride in matching paint and making things look as good as they can. The daily, it's the power meters or the pay meters for Peabody. It's all of the trash cans and working in close partnership with the city of Portland, again, to provide those basic services. Here's a chart you'll see kind of the last 4 years, and it's broken into the 4 main categories that we really focus on are trash, needles, graffiti, and biohazards. And it's you can kind of take a look at that from the chart going from 2017 to 2020. The big one that really stands out, and it's interesting, when I was in crime prevention, me and my colleagues there would actually look at clean and safe statistics, and you could almost measure the increase in heroin use and the opioid crisis in the last 10 to 15 years by just watching the needle count for clean and safe. And I had a statistic here somewhere on my desk that was really good. Oh yeah, here it is. I went back to 2014 with needles. In 2014, Clean and Safe collected just about 4,957 needles. So call it 5,000. Last year, 47,751. So an 863% increase in just 6 years. And it's just tremendous. And I know I'm downtown all the time and seeing needles, it's a big issue. So it's something we're very proud of. People will call us for the one needle that they just see on the sidewalk. What we're seeing a lot now is larger encampments that are abandoned. We're very careful. We never move people's personal possessions, and we do not move campsites. We simply clean around them with their cooperation. But we'll see abandoned campsites with hundreds of needles inside one tent or around one campsite. So busy there. So moving on to our safety services. Again, our goal is to create a safe space for everyone. We partner, our other vendor contact is Portland Patrol. And so oftentimes if you're downtown in the clean and safe area, you'll see both our barrel pushers, you'll see folks on our bikes, we have a couple trucks, and then you'll also see our security officers. And it can be a little confusing. People will say, are they police? They kind of look like police. And our contract with Portland Patrol, we put out about 5 unarmed officers and about 5 armed officers every shift. We have 2 shifts a day, 7 days a week. And the vast majority of our armed staff are retired Portland police officers or former police officers. We also work very closely with the Portland Police Bureau. There's actually 6 police officers that are assigned to the clean and safe area. And so if we need police assistance, then we have kind of a direct link in working with the Police Bureau. We also provide staffing assistance to the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office, and that's been a critical part. I know in a lot of the advocacy, public safety advocacy work I've done, a lot of folks don't understand the Portland Police are responsible for addressing and responding to crime. However, they don't decide who gets to stay in jail and who's released and who gets charged. That's the district attorney, a whole different government agency. And so what's nice is and we've been doing this a lot lately, we might have a business that's been victimized, say their windows are smashed. We can help coordinate everything from initial response from our security folks, making sure that that police report is taken in a timely fashion, and then follow up directly with the prosecutor, the deputy DA, that can help represent and support that victim. So we're trying to provide some really good service. A good example too, when there were a couple of weeks ago when there was some rioting and damage downtown around Pioneer Square, our security folks with Portland Patrol provided a list of about 35 individual businesses that were victimized so that we could follow up on that. So again, our goal is to have a presence out there. A big part of crime prevention and crime reduction is having positive use of spaces, right? We sure wish we had thousands of people downtown every day like we did a year-ish ago, shopping and doing things, or more than a year and a half ago. But again, it's just having a presence, staying on top of things. Also, our security folks and our cleaning folks are there as a resource, answering questions. That's a lot of what they do every day, is answering questions and helping people get where they need to go. So moving on kind of the second part, and again, this is my partner here, Sydney Mead, that runs a lot of our retail programs and core programs downtown. She runs a similar program to I do with security. It's called the Downtown Retail Council. And so that's dozens and dozens of our retailers that meet once a month, collaborating on strategy. Of course, now the big challenge here is how do we stay in business? How do we bring customers back to Portland? But she also works on, we do a lot of work in Old Town, supporting the Old Town Community Association. There's the holiday lighting program, 700 trees that get lit up from October to February. Also, too, a big component of this program is market research and outreach. We do 2 pedestrian counts a year, and we do a very pretty robust annual business census and survey report that goes out to every business in the clean and safe area, kind of getting a temperature check on how are people feeling, both from a safety standpoint and also just from a business standpoint, which is, again, more important than ever. And looking now, we also do market research and outreach as well, a quarterly listing on vacancies. We have a marketing retail advocate, Chase, that we work with, and that's really supporting businesses, whether they're startups or they're struggling, pop-up shops, really making sure that people can have their business as successful as possible. I'll talk a little bit when I'm done on a recent walk that I think is important to share with one of the commissioners to kind of give you a real detailed look at how businesses are doing. And just kind of finishing up enjoying downtown. It's getting back to what is great about downtown Portland. We also have a sidewalk ambassador program that's been on hiatus for the last year. We just got the go ahead literally this week to bring those ambassadors back. Those are the folks that you might have seen with an information booth or walking around helping direct tourists or people that are downtown. We're going to have, I believe, 6 ambassadors that are ramping up this month and hiring those folks to get them out and about. Okay, so I'm going to, and that's all of our information here. And I would just say, if you have any questions or want follow-up information, say it's what was the pedestrian count or what's your annual report? You have my contact information. And if you have any follow-up questions on some nuts and bolts like that, I'd be more than happy to, of course, provide that information for you. I wanted to share kind of the big question I think a lot of people has is how are businesses doing downtown? And I was out with Sydney Mead again, who runs our retail programming, and also some of our staff with the Portland Business Alliance and our government affairs. We did a walk with Commissioner Mingus Mapps last Friday, and we went to 6 different businesses, kind of around where were we? Up by the Moxie Hotel and the Wolf Fang, kind of over by Powell's Book, and kind of working our way south from there. And out of the 6 businesses, 3 businesses reported that and they were mainly retailers, clothing and kind of a specialty store, that with diversifying and going online, their sales actually this quarter were better than they were in 2019, which was kind of a pleasant surprise for all of us on the tour. And 3 of the other businesses basically said we are on loans from PPP loans and support. The foot traffic is way down, and if customers don't start coming back to downtown, we're not going to make it. So we went literally from things are better than they were. We're really surprised. We haven't had too many issues with broken windows to we went to a leather goods store that just opened up their retail store, was broken into several days later, lost their entire inventory. And they're going to be reopening once they put up their sliding security door, which was good. The city council did expedite that permitting process and they qualified for that. So they will be able to secure their store. But they need a lot of good folks to come down and start patroning their store. They're not going to make it. So, and I talk to business owners, large and small, pretty much every day. And there's the combination of just the business challenges with COVID and having the reduced amount of people downtown shopping, compounded by, we have a lot of businesses that are considering bringing employees back downtown. And is it safe? Do we feel safe? And I'm working with a lot of business leaders and kind of HR directors, really fielding some of those questions and providing them, just like we are here today, some of the best, most accurate information we can to show what is going down, what resources are downtown, what's in the works, what's in development, and hopefully getting our business leaders to feel safe to come back down. And the most important part is when they have questions, whether it's a simple thing of what's crime like? What is it up or down the last 2 years? What resources do we really have from the police bureau? What resources does Clean and Safe provide for security? Being able to provide that information and so they can make their decisions. But again, to be very candid, I was talking to my great breakout room there. I'm a man of candor. It's kind of how I roll. I shoot it straight all the time. I have a lot of business owners and leaders that are on the fence. And I'm glad that they're reaching out to me and to others in public safety to ask the right questions and make their decision. But they are definitely on the fence if they're going to, come back. But we're trying to support them. A good example of that is we have several larger employers in the Clean and Safe area. They're going to be bringing back, dozens of staff that haven't been downtown for over a year. So we're getting, key times of the day opening, closing, and we're trying to work both with our security and with the Portland Police Bureau to provide extra patrol, extra coverage, so that folks see more uniform presence down there and that the response times are better. As well as a good example is Saturday Market. We ramped up with the city, with our cleaners, helping getting the illegal campsites out of there. That was the city, but we came back in and making sure I go out there every Tuesday morning, making sure that the graffiti's been painted over, that it's power washed, that it's clean and safe and ready for folks to come to Saturday Market. So that's who we are and what we do. And then I'm going to hush up, and I would love any questions that you have, and hope I can answer them.
Thank you so much, Mark. What a complex issue. And I find it significant that we have you as our speaker on our 111th birthday as a club, because we were founded as the Downtown Rotary Club. And so downtown is part of our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a good amount of time for questions.
Good.
And I will let Jackie take over from here. If you've got a question, Jackie will moderate. Just drop your question in the chat. Jackie?
First person up to ask a question is Wesley Harper, and then second is Bill Diaz.
Mark, thank you very much for your presentation. I learned a lot. My impression is that a good deal of the damage is done at night, and the downtown, both the vandalism and the graffiti. And how can we address that better?
That's a great question. Yeah, the vast majority of the organized rioting has been, well, they'll start around 8 p.m. or so. Like, for example, tonight it's planned at 8 p.m. And it'll usually, the windows start breaking around 9 or 9:30 or 10 p.m. So not super late at night, but definitely when it's dark. Those events usually have pretty good police coverage. People are aware of it. The tricky ones are the one-offs. I get security footage a lot from business owners, 3 a.m, somebody walking by. I just had one last week. They picked up a sandwich board and threw it through the window, broke the entire front of the window. I think it was 3:30 at night. And those types of crimes, we traditionally call that a smash and grab in the crime prevention or the police world. Short of somebody standing there in front of the window, you're not going to be able to deter it or respond to it. So it's challenging. We, as far as clean and safe, have been looking. We go as late as most of our officers are downtown during prime business hours, and that's to support people down in business, people shopping. We have a lighter shift that goes till about 3 a.m. But from 1 a.m. to about 6 a.m., it's pretty light staffing. And I know with the police bureau as well, it's a challenge. And I'm sure you've seen it in the news. The Portland Police Bureau is down to, I believe the last number I heard was 820 police officers. We are budgeted to have 951 officers. And for some comparison, I believe it was 20 years ago, we had about 1,200, almost 1,300 officers and a whole lot less people. So the simple answer is it is very challenging to deter that type of crime. One of the things we're also doing in the clean and safe area, and it's kind of bringing some of what I did in crime prevention. I ran a program called Business Watch, which even though the city went away from the crime prevention program about 2 years ago, and I won't even go into that whole story. I'd be happy to talk to you more, but I could talk on and on and on. The commissioner in charge at the time did not support traditional crime prevention, and all of our community programs, so Business Watch, Neighborhood Watch, livability teams, those were all dissolved. But what we're trying to do is actually bring some kind of core component to that back into where all the businesses get a formal kind of foundation of training, a formal security assessment to where lighting, window filming, things that you can do to keep your business from being an easy target of these crimes. And then the other simple part is sharing information. A lot of our businesses have very good security footage, security cameras, being able to share that information. That's what we're doing with the Downtown Security Network is if you have a good resolution picture of someone who smashed your window, is making sure that gets filed and there's a police report and looking at that. So it's really trying to get back to some of the grassroots individual and then collective businesses working together, not being an easy victim of crime, and then making sure that they're reporting it. But in the short term, I have business owners that are watching their Nest cameras. They have their phones on alert at home. And when they have motion on their camera, they wake up, they see someone, they have cameras where they can talk down. So a lot of people are doing whatever they can. But there simply isn't a robust enough uniform presence downtown to prevent all those crimes.
Good question, Wesley. Thank you. Next up is Bill Diaz, and after Bill is Dick Clark.
Okay, thank you. Mark, thank you very much for your presentation.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the wraparound services for homeless people and how that helps break that cycle and gets them jobs and gets them into a career path.
Mhm.
Do you have a similar strategy? I know that the original gang members, the older people who are trying to wean the gang people away from that lifestyle, jobs are a critical component of what they're trying to bring to the table. Are you working with a strategy to help divert some of this gang activity into the work that you're doing?
I personally am not involved in that with downtown clean and safe. Not that we don't have some gang activity. Obviously, we've had shootings downtown recently that were reported to be gang involved. That's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I will say that in crime prevention, I did participate in a lot of events with the Mayor's Office of Youth Violence. I worked very closely with Antoinette Edwards and a lot of folks there that were very involved. And that actually might be a good kind of a follow-up guest speaker for this group, is to find out exactly what that office is doing with prevention and kind of the upstream solutions. And absolutely that. I know there were some great programs when I was in crime prevention where it was a lot of some of the leaders, the church leadership and religious leaders had programs where they were taking folks that were potentially gang impacted or affected, and just simply having breakfast with them and having dialogue and working on those different things and giving folks an option. Just like we're doing with our Clean Start program, a viable option to getting out of that lifestyle. And I'm hoping, it's been in the media quite a bit, but there's quite a bit of money. I think it was $4.5 million was recently appropriated for just those types of programs through both, the Office of Violence, through the Mayor's Office, and with the county. And those are dollars going directly to nonprofit organizations to provide hopefully some viable alternatives. So that would be I think a good guest speaker, and I can certainly help facilitate getting you in contact with the right people in those programs. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Mark. Next up is Dick Clark.
Mark, thanks for your presentation today. Very informative. We really appreciate it. You have one of those jobs that I think is thankless, and I think we all want to thank you for your dedication and commitment and spirit that you provide every day. My specific question is, I think all of us want to be proactive. Our club is about service above self, and I think we're all taxpayers and voters, and we support it. The Here Together homeless measure in the last year or so. Can you tell us what is happening so far with the money and what will be happening that knits together with your activities?
Great question. Thank you, Dick. And yeah, it was interesting. So I left crime prevention in 2019. I was in private security for about a year and a half. And this job came up, and I worked very closely with Clean and Safe with my predecessor, Bill Sennett and Maureen Fisher. And so when this job became available, I immediately was interested. But I have to share with you, I had friends that texted me when they found out I got the job, and they said, are you out of your mind? Are you crazy? And I said, no, I'm not crazy. I said, Portland, I love Portland. I really quickly, I moved up here with the federal government. I took a transfer. I'd never been to Portland in my life. I met my wife now of 16 years. I was in town for 3 hours, and I met my now wife of 16 years. So I tell people simply, no, I'm not crazy. Portland is a wonderful town, nicest people I've ever met. And so to have a chance to come back and play a small role in helping this whole city, count me in. To your question, Dick, on that, it's interesting. I've been part of a lot of Zoom meetings with city officials and also county officials with a lot of the money that's coming in, both from the federal government and the CARES Act, and also with the Metro bond that passed, hundreds of millions of dollars. And it's interesting to see where that goes. I certainly, I'm candid but very neutral. I'm not taking any political positions here, but I will know it's been in the media quite a bit at the county level. The budget, I did see a presentation on the county budget and also in detail with the Joint Office of Homeless Services. So as a reminder, the Joint Office of Homeless Services is both City of Portland and Multnomah County, led by Mark Jolan, and they're going to be receiving tens of millions, well, lots of money. And so the big question is, what are we doing? And I think the question I'm hearing in a lot of these is there's the need, of course, for affordable housing and long-term solutions, but not just housing, but with wraparound services so that folks are successful once they do attain housing. But the critical immediate need for sheltering for the 4,000 folks that are sleeping on the streets here in the Portland metro area. And I know there's some discussions about the money, and is it going to be funneled more for immediate services and addressing, giving people viable, safe options with dignity to get off the street soon, like in the next month or so, as well as in concert with the affordable housing in the long term. There's the budget. I mean, they've released the budget. The county budget hasn't been finalized. There's a lot of back and forth on it. What I'm anticipating, what I'm encouraged to hear is, again, from elected officials, is the dialogue is changing, I think, dramatically in the last couple months. Is we need to take this money. It's really a once in a generation lifetime to have these type of resources and money. And we've got to find immediate solutions for folks that are sleeping on the street. That's going to be a combination. I know the plans right now, both at the city and the county level, it's expanding sanctioned camping. I know there are a lot of folks in the city as well as in the private sector and nonprofit sector. I work with a wonderful group called the Public Safety Action Coalition. Several of their board members are on Bybee Lakes Advisory Board, the old Wapato jail that's seemed to be a great success so far. But they currently, just community members on their own time, are working with, for example, Homer Williams and a few other folks to identify areas around Portland metro area that can be used as sanctioned camping so that we can really put together a viable option. We are all working under a court case from the Ninth Circuit Court called Martin versus Boise. And to summarize that, it's a court ruling that came out about 2-ish months ago. It's been in the court systems for years. It was a case, some individuals sued the city of Boise. And the ruling is basically governments, municipalities cannot penalize or criminalize or regulate illegal camping on public space if there is no viable option. And so the ruling came down. It kind of set the standard is if someone's sleeping on the sidewalk, again, no crime, because again, being homeless is not a crime. And luckily I haven't met anybody that I work with that thinks that either. It's a social service issue. But if somebody is sleeping in a tent on the sidewalk, that the city, county, state cannot make that person move as we used to years gone by, if there is not a viable option. Now there's discussions, and you probably caught it in the media last week with the city's homeless impact reduction program. It's called HUCRP. That's the city program that addresses all of the illegal camping. They have been under their COVID protocols for the last year plus, meaning that they went from abating 40 to 60 camps a week to a handful a month for the last year. And that's why we've seen the big explosion in illegal camping. They have new protocols now to where they can abate camps with certain criteria. It's blocking a sidewalk, blocking an entrance, obvious drug use, obvious criminality, immediate fire, life safety hazards. They're required to do a 48-hour posting. They do not have to do the 7 to 10 days of outreach and moving that. But the trick of that as well is there has to be a viable option. And so what I'm really encouraged about is the community has been working on this for quite some time. The best part of my job in crime prevention was working with many different community groups, whether it's a neighborhood association, groups just like this of how do we get involved and work on it. But we're seeing at the highest level, both the political motivation to start finding some tangible solutions immediately. And we also have the finances, we have the resources that we've lacked for a long time. And really being able to find that option. And so the idea is that when you have, a chronic campsite that's blocking a sidewalk, that's an issue, ideally social services, government agencies can come out and say, here's the deal. You can't be camping out here. It's illegal. We have a place for you to go, and not just a place to go, but a place that works. We have a place for your pets. We have a place for your belongings. You will be treated as you should be treated, with dignity and with respect, but you can't stay here. You can't be camping on the sidewalk. And I think, that's where we're going to see things really turn, when we as a city and a county have that capacity to enforce our city ordinance. I mean, it is illegal to camp on public property. It's written in city ordinance. It has been for decades. But especially with this ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court, and that's, just I always say my personal and professional opinion sometimes merge a little bit. I couldn't be more in favor of that. Nobody should have to sleep on the street. We should always be able to provide someone that is, especially someone that says, I'm scared and cold. I need a place to go. Where can I go right now? Everyone is in agreement. We should be able to provide that resource immediately. I would encourage this group, and this is my old kind of community advocate part to it and I'd be happy to find some links if you can't find it to the budget, especially the Joint Office of Homeless Services. I would encourage everybody. I'm going to be doing it. I know the Clean and Safe as well as the PBA will be doing this very closely, is watching where the money's going, looking at what are the metrics for success or not success. I hear it anecdotally all the time. We're spending tens of millions of dollars and the problem only seems to be getting worse. Why is that, Mark? And I love when people ask me that question like I have the answer. But I would just say, watch where the money's going. These are all our elected officials. They work for us and report to us. and let's see what's working. And what I'm hoping too is that our officials won't be afraid to try things. You know, we need to try different tactics, different things, and there's a whole range. You look at other cities, whether it's sanctioned car camping in parking lots. What can we do to provide folks the basic things that all humans need? And how can we do it quickly? You know, how can we say 30, 60, 90 days from now say, you know what, I used to drive around this area and there were tents everywhere. It's not perfect. There's still a few tents, but boy, it's better. It's cleaner. I don't see as many people living on the street. It looks better. I feel better. And I'll have to share with you, I think the biggest challenge of my position is being, especially down in Old Town, and I'm down there every day, sometimes all day long, and to see, you know, a number of dozens of individuals who are just in a very severe mental health crisis state and not getting the help that they need. It is really hard to see. So long-winded answer to your question, Dick, but there's some great stuff going, and I would just say get in tune with the budget, watch the county budget and how that unfolds, and then look for their metrics and their reporting. Just as a short term, and I'd be happy to share this with you, I do a monthly tent count for about 45 square blocks. And it's just the Old Town Association neighborhood within the clean and safe area. So again, about 40 blocks. I do that the first Monday of every month. I go out on my bike and count tents. We were at 238 on the 4th of May. And so what I'm going to be looking at doing within the clean and safe area is, are the tents going up or down? And if they're going up, why are they going up? What's not working? And if they're going down, how fast are they going down? And why are they going down? And where are these folks going? You might have heard the term whack-a-mole. That's something we would, because again, you got to infuse humor in all of this, otherwise you'll go nuts. People say, Mark, it just seems like whack-a-mole. You know, the city shows up and we move a tent and they move down the street. That doesn't help the folks that are homeless, and that certainly doesn't help the business. And it absolutely has been whack-a-mole for a long time. And that needs to stop. It needs to be providing that a real tangible solution. Did that all make sense? Hope so.
Thank you so much, Mark. I'm sorry that we're out of time for more questions, but I'm hoping that people can email you directly or call you. If
Yes.
you would be able to put your email in the chat so that all of our questions are answered on this incredibly important topic. I think as we heard you speak, we all were wondering, well, what can we do personally to help solve the problem? And I think we've got a Rotarian who has an idea. I'd like to welcome past President Rotarian Deb Dion to tell you about an upcoming Preserve Planet Earth volunteer opportunity. Deb?
Thank you, Ruth. I'm here on behalf of Don Livingstone and the Planet Earth Committee. Don is in conversation with Solve to find a cleanup project where the Planet Earth Committee can be assigned a block to go help clean it up. He's in conversation, and I would just say stay tuned. Hopefully sometime in the next month, we will have a time and a place to go out and do our part.
Thank you, Deb. We'll look forward to that opportunity. And next week, we'll hear from my friend Tim Morgan, the CEO of AAA Oregon, on how the American Automobile Association is evolving. This meeting will once again be live via Zoom at noon on Tuesday. And if you have an idea for a future speaker, and we had a couple come up today, please submit them on our website. Siobhan will put the link in the chat. Now, although we have no virtual guests today, we have a new member. Welcome, Lakiana Drury, sponsored by Leslie Brunker. We're so glad you joined our club. Congratulations, and I wish that we could just be in person to welcome you to Rotary Club of Portland. Mark Favinci, thank you for your reflection. Deb, thank you again for your invitation to get involved with Solve. And Curtis, we so appreciate the information on U40. Please, everyone, think of the outstanding young people in your lives and recommend them for membership. Dick, thank you again for your speaker introduction. And Mark Wells, thank you again for your fascinating presentation. I think you answered so many questions that have been burning in our minds for the last few weeks. I'd like to go back to Andrew Rowe's Sunday letter to the editor, and he concluded this way. It's time for Portlanders to reclaim downtown by walking the streets, shopping, eating, going to theaters, and regenerating the vibe that made it one of America's favorite cities. Let's stop tearing ourselves down and focus on building ourselves back up. I thank Andrew for those inspiring words, Mark for your wonderful presentation, and as we enter into a new Rotary Week, please join me in opening the doors of opportunity for healing, recovery, and peace building. As Rotarians, we're here to make our world healthier, more sustainable, and with justice for all. I wish you all a safe and meaningful Memorial Day weekend coming up, and this meeting is adjourned.